I competed in a $1 million Clash Royale League today and I played against the best players in the world like RYLEY, and this video is about showing you how far I got and if I qualified for the next stage. Starting off today's video here against Vissa, most of you guys won't really know him, but honestly you're playing against the best players in the world. You're playing the top 1k stage against really good players. You can face Mohamed Light, you can face RYLEY, Ian and so on, but you can also face players which you don't really know, which you're not really familiar with, but you kind of also need to consider it's a best of 3 format, right? So sometimes you play against someone you don't know, you don't really know about his deck pool, you're kind of preparing for the decks they played already, then they're gonna bust out some completely different stuff which you don't really expect, and it's still a matchup game, as most of you know. So even if you're playing against like technical or like skill-wise worse players than you still need to pay attention and you still need to try your best and win this one. So I'm just gonna go for arrowing down his goblin gang, and he just decides to go in for goblins. This is completely fine, and I might just go now for my Zappies here in the back. And Zappies in the back, always like a great play. I'm using this Royal Recruits deck, by the way. Honestly, after like playing competitive now this day, Royal Recruits final, I would say like final statement about this card. They're solid, they're okay, but they're not like really broken. I feel like they're working well in this type of decks, but it doesn't really make sense to kind of waste every or like the other cards for that, since we know it's a dual format. You can just use every single card once per best of 3, so I don't really want to use like, I don't know, like minor wall breakers and so on. So I'm just kind of want to use this type of deck, since there are a ton of cards which you don't really see in any other decks, like Zappies, Flying Machine, Goblin Cage. These are really unique and really unique cards, I would say, which you don't really see in a ton of meta decks, so this works out really well. But overall, of course, evil recruits are a buff for recruits, so you don't really complain about them. So this is like a really interesting decision, because I know he wants to bait out arrows, right? So I want to make sure I'm not defending this type of scale with arrows. I have my recruits down already, and now I'm just kind of relaxing here. So just kind of waiting what he does. He's now just gonna go in for his Evo recruits. I think I'm just gonna still arrow that down. And I was kind of scared that his Evo recruits are surviving and counter bushing, but overall it was fine. My Zappies honestly doing a great job, that unfortunately targeting the wrong one, so we still need to play something. I'm just gonna go for my E-Spirit here, good E-Spirit. Now we're just gonna go in for my cage here. I'm completely fine with just like one of these connecting, because now I think I'm just gonna go for Piggy Split here, and this is honestly not too bad, because he needs to decide to commit both. And we also kind of found out now, okay, he doesn't have Fireball. He's gonna play the Poison Variation. The Goblin Brawler, honestly kind of underestimating him. He gets like 2 big shots on the left hand side, and this is absolutely incredible now. So I'm just gonna go in here for my Flying Machine high, using my E-Spirit low here, making sure to kill most of this. Of course, we still taking some decent amount of chip, but it's okay. And now I'm just going to counter push aggressive here, because I know his stuff's also like so really bad arrows on my end. I didn't expect him to miss like the protection for them, and now I'm just going to go in here aggressive, right? So using now my Royal Hogs here in a really aggressive way, and we're getting a ton of damage. So he's gonna go use his ability, he's still gonna go goblins, but look at the Royal Hogs, right? When the opponent doesn't have a building, doesn't have like a magnet and so on, Royal Hogs are just absolutely incredible. Once on the tower, they're dealing so much damage, and yeah, one of my favorite cards in the entire game. So Zappies are coming down here, doing a great job against the Mighty Miner. And now I think I'm just going to go aggressive. Well, actually I played them at the same time he played the Poison, so normally I wouldn't have played them. I would just like gun for them in the back, but still okay, since the Flying Machine stays alive and I get a ton of Cage value. Honestly, Cage an underrated card, I feel like. It's just like, because Bomb Tor, especially also Tesla in some ways, feels like so broken in the game. Although a ton of people are currently using Tesla. I mean, not using Goblin Cage, but I just think Goblin Cage overall also so solid. So I'm just gonna go for my Fireball here, and this is kind of where I felt like, okay, he was overcommitting a lot, going also for the Poison spell here. So I'm just gonna go for the E-Spirit here. E-Spirit is doing a great job, and I know like I can just even like push into this type of goblins with my Royal Hogs, because I know he doesn't have any response against my Hoggies. I think the second game will be a perfect example of me kind of showing how to play Bridge Trim as a perfection, because I just absolutely love Bridge Trim, right? It's one of my favorite archetypes, because their play potential is there. This is why we're always kind of seeing if he decides to play the game. Some players retired because the game is pretty boring right now, but I think you guys kind of know what I'm talking about. Vero is like considered to be the best bridge trim player, and he finishes like high in every single meta, because he just like knows how to adapt, right? He knows how to pressure. He's kind of switching up his variations, of course, but the outplay potential is absolutely crazy, because he is keeping up the pressure 24/7 and forcing out the mistakes on the opponent. What's like the best stacks, I would say, like to outplay opponents, like making the opponents, or let the opponents make as many choices as he like can, right? And with bridge spam, the opponent needs to do a ton of choices, because you're spamming 24/7 the bridge, as the deck kind of is also named for. So this is kind of where I feel like the outplay potential from this type of decks is way bigger. Also like with Psychic decks in general, right? Psychic decks, they're like way harder to defend. You need to have like, you need to deal with a ton of choices, like against wall breakers, against miners and so on, or like with hog riders compared to a golden deck. So this is kind of where pros really prefer this type of cycle decks, this type of bridge decks in competitive play against the best players in the world while they're using beatdown decks. So I'm just gonna go for Bandit plus these to left hand side to make sure we're taking the tower down. And now I'm just gonna go in here for my Mother Witch low and making sure we're making or like getting value on top of the scale ranks. At the same time, he still gets a ton of damage, which is completely fine. I'm fine like losing this tower because I get so much value out of this type of Mother Witch here, and I can just go in here for a ban in the pocket. As you guys can see, he takes my tower. I don't really like how I'm supposed to defend Lava Loon really great, right? Like, especially when my queen is out, I cannot. He has arrows minus zap against my Mother Witch. By the way, like, my arrows really good, but also arrow zap alone, killing my Mother Witch completely. But we are keeping up the pressure on playing this as offensive as we can. So I'm just going to go for my battle ram here at the bridge. Honestly, just using my heal spree to make sure I'm getting as tower that my battle ram decides to charge on top of the king tower instead of going on for the wiener tower and kind of wasting a 4 elixir battle ram for just like so less elixir. So I'm just going to go in here for my barbs here, and he needs to play something, so he's gonna go for arrows here instead of going just for barbs. So I'm just using this type of ghost here, and this will be like a really absolutely crazy defense here. So I'm just gonna go now for my bandit here. I'm using my rage now, also gonna use my heal spirit here, and look at the defense, guys. Look at the defense. So I'm kind of scared of this Inferno, not gonna lie, so I need to go for defensive battle ram here just to make sure we're distracting that. And right now I'm just gonna go cycle another Mother Witch here. Mother Witch is doing a great job here. So also Mother Witch makes sure to survive arrows, so really good timing. And now I'm just going to be aggressive right now. I'm just going to spam my Evo buffs because I know he needs to go lava round. I'm just going to go for a perfect heal spirit here, using ability to tank and dash at the same time for on the top of the miner, going for the rage into his barbarian. Heal spirit is healing everything up, and this is a 3-con victory against a deck where I feel like you can't really defend air. But just like when you can't defend, just get the base rates on and just try to beat him earlier than he's going to beat you. Facing off one of the best players in the entire world now, RYLEY, the absolutely Logbait goat. And of course, when you face RYLEY, you also want to always counter Logbait. This is pretty important, and we're starting off with RG, and I would say this matchup can be considered tough. He got Bomber, cheap cycle of the Archer Queen. We don't really have the Lightning against Archer Queen. We don't have anything against Inferno, so this matchup is on paper really tough. So I'm just going to go for my Fisherman. I was kind of say, okay, is it going to be Logbait already in the first game? Really, RYLEY? No, it's not. So he got his delivery in hand. He's just going to use it here high. And I'm just going to go for the Mother, which you're kind of finding out. I was already thinking that he's going to play this type of drill deck because he used it before, and also I saw other players using it. Really interesting to see like kind of the Louis drill. I mean, normally you would really use the lock in this type of deck, but of course using the delivery since it's a dual format and you kind of want to save the lock for any other deck. So using my Tombstone here. Now I'm just going to go for my Skelly King here. Perfect Skelly King placement, and I'm really happy about this one. So Skelly King is doing an absolutely crazy job here, and now I think I'm decided to just go. Do I go like Warrior Giant? No, I think I'm just going to decide to go in for maybe Skelly D's, or I'm just going to use the ability. I think I'm just going to use the ability. So yeah, even if he's going to use the delivery, I'm still kind of hoping that the Bomber dies. Bomber dies, so it's completely fine. Also, Skeleton gets one shot for just like 2 elixir. Getting like the Bomber, or like having a Bomber that. Also getting a big shot here on top of the tower, which is helpful. And overall having a solid elixir position is something I cannot really complain about. Now I'm going in for the Warrior Giant here in the back. Of course, something solid. I kind of don't really know what to do, to be fair, so I'm kind of waiting for him. So I'm just going to go for a Fisherman in the back, and this is honestly really good because now he gives me fireball value. Of course, he's also cycling to his Evo barbs, which at the same time is annoying, but it's overall okay. I'm just going to go for my fireball. He's going to use his ability as I kind of anticipated, but I'm just going to go in here for my Barbarian Bull here, making sure to kill the Queen, tanking for the Queen, and now we have the Skelly King back and cycle. So I need to go for this. Now I'm just going to go in here for my Mother Witch high here, or like here and high, to distract the Bomber. Getting one piggy out, this is completely fine. He's going for perfect for perfect Ice Spirit, making sure we're not going to take any damage, but we get one Mother Witch shot. So I think I thought about going for the ability, but yeah, I still did it because I was like kind of considering we're going to double elixir time soon, and I knew we wouldn't have enough elixir for Fireball, so I can just go now for my piggies, for my not piggies. What's it called? Piggies. Dragon's High here, and I'm just gonna go for Tombstone. Honestly, Tombstone doing a ton of work in this type of matchup, and he's decided to go in this with his ability early, which is of course really great because this means I can get like a free Fisherman here and pooling this type of stuff. And so far, nothing really happened in the game. We didn't get any damage as I really wanted it to see, but also he didn't get too much damage. So we're looking fine here. I'm just gonna go for skate rings. Honestly, really annoying that we need 3 skate ring shots to kill the bomber. So the bomber gets 1 splash shot of my Skelly King. So sometimes I would say, as long as we're keeping up the cycle, right? And so far we're doing it great, because normally his kind of plan is to outcycle my Skelly King and then maybe get like drill fireball on the tower and dealing a ton of damage. But it didn't work out so far. Also the piggy tanky for the tower, that our skeletons make sure to kill the arch. Really important scenario. And now we got the Evo RG in hand. So I'm just gonna go for this here. And I think this time he might get like a bomber connection also, but we also get like some piggy value out of that, but he still has the damage lead. So I'm just gonna go for my Royal Giant here. Look at the 2 piggies chipping down his tower. Honestly, pretty underrated. So this is kind of what I really love to do in this matchup. Sometimes when you feel like, okay, I got unfair tower, you got barbarians, where I'm not really able to break through. I'm just trying to be more as aggressive as I can with my Mother Witch to get some decent amount of value, especially considering he also got Fireball in the deck. So if I play my Mother Witch low, it doesn't really get any value. Anyway, so using my Mother Witch here, he's just gonna go Fireball, so using the skate ranks in a really good way. And I think now I'm just gonna use my ability, and I think now I'm just gonna decide to go in for another Royal Giant here, because I know he's low on elixir, he doesn't have his Evo barbs yet, and also the skate ranks are tanking. Also my Royal Giant isn't walking, so I can just go in here for my Fireball, using my Barbarian Barrel here. He's really low on elixir, so he's kinda forced to play Evo barbs now. I think he maybe should have just Fireball that, because this means we get like a free Tombstone here, and Tombstone overall is doing an absolutely great job here. So I'm just gonna go for that. He's just gonna go decide to play his Ice Bird here, plus his Goblin Rule. We're going for the Skelly King. I think this is like really unlucky now that the 1 Goblin gets to tower, or maybe it's a normal interaction, but I was kind of annoyed by that. Now we're just going to go in here for this type of stuff, and this is like really great Fireball value. So I'm taking the Fireball value whenever I can now. Maybe also get like 1 Mother Witch shot, and this is huge, because this puts in a lead from 500 damage, and this is absolutely massive in this type of match. So I'm just going to go use this here. We're just going to go in, so I need to go for my perfect Barbarian Bell. I think it was perfect, honestly. I think we didn't take 1 shot, but I'm just going to go in now. Do I even go in? I think I'm down. I'm just going to go for Voyager in the back, because I feel like, okay, I can do 1 more push. I got my Skelly King, so nothing to worry about. And I think right now I'm just going to take another Fireball here to make sure that we're keeping up the pressure. Now I'm just going to go for a Barbarian Barrel here. A Barbarian Barrel, make sure to kill the Archer Queen. This is perfect. Using my Skate Ring size, so it's kind of mean, okay, he needs to Fireball high, but he's going to go Fireball on top of the, Fireball and Skate Rings, but he decides to go Fireball there. But that's completely fine, because we're still in damage sheet, and I can just kind of continue spamming Skate Rings. He needs to go and like force Barbarians on defense, which means he doesn't have enough elixir to go drill plus Fireball in the tower, and we're getting the Fireball down. He gets the Fireball down, but we got a damage advantage earlier, and this is why we're beating RYLEY in the first game. So guys, game number 2, and we're picking a deck which is currently one of the best decks by far in Clash Royale. I need to say this matchup is of course on my side, so I would say this matchup is maybe a bit better for him. But I think we also played it overall really well, so I might be like more like a 50-50 matchup. I don't know, like really hard to say, because this is kind of decks which I'm not really familiar with, like this type of matchup, because it's the first time I was playing it. But like kind of considering which counters he had on defense, was absolutely hard to break through there. But now we got like a matchup which I want to see, right? You want to play RME8 against Hog Rider. This is like the #1 matchup which Ian is complaining always about, saying this matchup is so impossible, what I'm supposed to do. I'm just gonna go in here for my Knight here against the Mighty Miner, and now just gonna go for Tornado. Of course, he will get some chip, decent amount of chip. I know where you went with an ability there, maybe just a misclick. And I think I'm playing this game overall really well, but I'm doing one huge mistake, which I'm kind of, I know, we're like, okay, dude, why did I do that? So using my Miner now, making sure to get some decent amount of chip damage, kind of always switching the Miner placement around. And now I think I'm just going to go for the Log, and overall I would say this is a really good start. Also, he got Snowball and no Log, which makes the matchup even easier for me, because to be fair, just like he can't even kill Magic Archer. Normally you kind of want to go Log Magic Log EQ on a Magic Archer whenever you can, but he can't even do that because he got Snowball, and Tesla also doing really nothing. And yeah, I just feel like so far the match is on our side. So look at the Spear placement, by the way. Really love the Spear placement. Making sure to get counter push and making sure we get as much value as we can. Also the Spear Golems chipping away an opponent's tower. And this is honestly a really, really good start. So I'm just going to go in here for my Miner, trying to get some decent amount of chip damage here. On top of the Firequick and maybe finish it off with Log. But it didn't work out. I'm just going to go for my Log here. And I think now, yeah, I think it was not the best. I'm just going to go for this, going for that. I mean, it's okay, but I think the Hog Rider gets now one shot because the Firequick is actually helping. But it's okay overall. It's not like too great, but it's also not too bad. Using my Spear Golems here, and now I think I'm just going to keep up the double lane pressure. And this, I think, is his mistake. He just should have gone like for Fire Spit on the right side to make sure that just like one of the wall breakers connect. But he decided to commit guards, which of course makes sure that we don't get any damage on the right hand side. But like the Evo Knight just absolutely shredded everything. The Fire Spit didn't even jump. And now I think I'm just gonna go in here. I should have played my knight to the left side, or like played it just like different, right? Because now my his cracker stays alive and gets just so much value, right? Like one huge shot, I think he's can kind of finish it off. And we're just gonna go for his Evo cracker here. Smart play, getting some extra chip damage. Of course, not as much damage as it used to be, but still kind of annoying, and I'm kind of throwing the game away. So I'm just gonna go for my log here. Really good log, really good chip damage on his on my end here, but also really good defense from RYLEY there. So he's gonna go for his EQ here. I'm using smart Spielgum on the side there, using another miner. I think this is now where he's doing a mistake. He's just gonna go in for his snowball, and he kind of pushed the Warpack's not back, they kind of pushed it inside his tower. The miner is still chipping away, but overall we're not looking too bad. We're looking really good. Also think he gave up here. So at the end, I wasn't able to qualify for the top 32 stage. One win away, really unlucky. I think also at the end I didn't play too well matchup, and playstyle combination was kind of there. But the good thing is I qualified for the 5th time in a row for the World Finals. The top 16 players in the world will participate there at the end of November, live from Finland, Helsinki. So stay tuned to tune in there. And yeah, we'll do a ton of content around that. And we'll also practice a lot. So thank you so much for all the support on the road this year so far. Even the year's not there, not over yet, but just thank you so much for all the support in CL, in the CL chats, messages privately, and so much and so on. So thank you so much for supporting me doing CL, and I hope I make you proud in Finland at the end of November in the World Finals. Peace out, thanks for watching.